your foe, but thou art foe. Then vanish thee back to the vile pit from which I came. Go back to the world wound, demon, and back to the hells, fiend. If thou art friend, then join me as we return once more to walk the lands Golarian in Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. If anyone saw last night, you will have seen Sir Yorkie became rather overly bold, shall we say, and was forced back into retreat in the Great Garrison 2, 3, 4 times until we finally reached victory. Now, having taken apart the Great Garrison, driven off Minago and that foul Staunton vein, we are in a camp outside of Kenabres and talking to the storyteller before we proceed around the camp. The old elf smiles when he hears your footsteps. Allow me to congratulate you on your victory and on acquiring mythical powers capable of casting down the strongest of demons. I got the page you were looking for from the Grey Garrison. The storyteller carefully takes a page from your hand. His fingers touch the ancient letters gently, examining them lightly. Following their lines, I see myself, young, energetic, able to see. Oh gods, have I found the key to my past? Finally, I will find out what my own mind has been hiding from me. The elf's expression becomes withdrawn, the wrinkles on his face soften. Thank you, Sir Yorkie, and please follow me to my story. Let's embark on this journey together. The storyteller inhales sharply a few times and begins his story. They are leaving. The people of Keonin faced with coming earthfall and admitted that they were incapable of handling this disaster. Proud rulers, artful crafters, brave warriors, wise mages, and skilled healers. All of them hurried to the gates of Shire, looking around fearfully. A clean, safe world is waiting for them there. My people decided not to fight for Golarian. I'm ashamed, and I am sorry for them. Their hearts wavered in the face of the catastrophe. My will is strong. I am staying. My kinfolk are looking at me angrily. How dare I diminish their decision with my recklessness? My choice makes them cowards, traitors to their own home. One of them, my former mentor, looks at me bitterly. He hands me a notebook, a neat notebook, with a tree bark cover. In case you change your mind, with a heavy sigh, he returns to the line of those departing. Forgive me, brothers and sisters. I watch the gate of the Sovereign stone close, separating me from them. It's time for me to go too. I open my master's notebook. These are his notes about travelling between worlds, in case you change your mind. He hopes the burden I shouldered voluntarily will be too much. I will lose heart and find my way to Sovereign. That will never happen. My mouth is set stubbornly. I tear my master's notebook to pieces. I use my forced pride as a shield against my fear of what is to come. Why did the elves decide to flee and not fight? Storyteller's lips purse with disdain. They are afraid to lose what they have. They were rulers, long-lived and powerful. They valued their lives and sunshine too much to enter the fight with the aftermath of Earthfall. Your mentor is a mate, and you must be too, yes? Yes, I am an archmage, and this title is well-deserved. I have acquired delicate mastery and succeed in many areas of magic, but curiosity has always pushed me towards new knowledge since the first day of my apprenticeship. What is the Sovereign Stone? A magnificent crystal bent on into an arch by a mighty hand of an ancient divine creator. Our great gate to other worlds. It breathes power. It dreams of eternity. Why are you angry at your fellow elves? I spent many hundreds of years in Keonin. I have always admired the way my kinfolk cared for all the forest that was our home. But the rest of the world seemed to mean nothing to them. But I love Golarian. All its places, all the forms it manifests in. I travelled widely and then came home and told my kinfolk about my travels. But they weren't interested. They only cared about Keonin. Their lack of desire to hear about the wider world makes me sad and angry. What happened next? Earthfall happened at night. I am standing at the top of my tower many miles to the north of Keonin, and I see a blaze far in the south. I hear a horrendous rumble. The air is groaning, giving way to a huge rock, rushing down on my world, and then a blow. Vibration that penetrates everything, reaching down into the bowels of Golarian and up to the vaults of the sky. Crunching bones, blood, and burst vessels, filling my eyes with darkness, drowning in timelessness, along with countless denizens of Golarian. Never before have we been so united in our feelings. When I come around, the darkness remains. My first terrible thoughts, I am blind. But no, little by little I begin to see the stone wall. I am alive. But why is it so dark? The answer is quick. The smell of ash everywhere. The great burnt sacrifice filled the air with incinerated particles of what was recently the continent of Aslant. Great clouds of ash covered the sky, cutting us off from the sun and the moon, dooming us to dusk at day and complete darkness at night. My heart sinks with fear. Treacherous thought fills my mind. Why did I stay? Why didn't I run like everyone else when I had the chance? I clench my teeth and stand up to watch Earthfall, proudly like the last Archmage of Caoline should. Will my world really perish like this? Will I perish? No, that will never happen. I am still alive. I can fight Earthfall and the darkness, not run from it in a blind panic like my kinfolk and my cowardly teacher. But what can I do? I will not stop the disaster. I will hardly be able to save empires from their destruction. What can I do? I am but one Archmage, powerful and weak at the same time. What is Earthfall? A disaster of untold proportions, an unborn planet dropped on Golarian by blind fate or someone's evil will. A blow so strong that the continent of Aslant is destroyed within moments, turned to ashes, wiped off the face of Golarian. In this burnt sacrifice, clouds of ash and dust are born, stealing our sun. Without the warmth of our star, the air cools. The soil is barren, dark creatures crawl out of their lairs to rule. And the most frightening thing, without the sun all hope dies in the heart. This is the age of darkness. What was the tower you mentioned? It's my retreat to the north of Keonin. My home away from home, my observatory. From its top, I watched the stars. And, when they were correctly aligned, the other worlds as well. Here in the northern wastelands I found the highest mountain and built the tower on top of it. On clear days I could see the mist over the lake of mists and veils in the east. That's how high I was. What you going to do next? I don't know. I need to think. My opponent, Earthfall, is much stronger than me. Without noticing, the storyteller raises his voice to a shout. It is merciless. It does not simply destroy life. It kills an era, ending the greatness of Golarian civilizations. They will sink into oblivion, be forgotten, as if they never existed. I need to think. The elf suddenly winces and is silent for a few moments as he calms his heavy breathing. Forgive me, I shouldn't have raised my voice. The story was much harder than many before it, most likely because I played the main role in it. It is so strange to see myself, feel the emotions tearing me up inside, those that I felt a long time ago, and not remember them. It's like I split. I became both the storyteller and the main character. Too bad the story ended at that moment. Please, if you find other pages covered with ancient elven writings on your travels, bring them to me. I might be able to shed some light on my past, and we will find out how my story ended, and perhaps even why I forgot it. Well, you've told me about Earthfall, so we don't need to repeat the story. Thank you for your stories. I want to discuss your past with you. Storytellers... we've seen this. We've seen all of this. Have you decided to join the crusade? Oh, please examine the items. Is there anything? Broken buckle and necessary materials. Restore this relic for me. The elf cautiously uncorks the vials and begins to work his enchantment. The essence evaporates, turning into light and that streams onto the buckle. The light thickens, becoming gold. The Covenant of the Inheritor. It is the name of this relic. This buckle once adorned the belt of a religious knight from Nendev. It is the embodiment of a promise made to a young girl by a powerful deity. A great promise that has changed much in the world. And we have the Covenant of the Inheritor. When you touch the restored relic, a strange vision comes to you. It's as if you can see the events that happened in its past. A burning sensation spreads across your chest from the very spot where your mysterious wound sometimes opens. What is this? The influence of the storyteller's spells? Or something else? I had a vision. The old elf frowns. How strange. You are a remarkable mortal. No one has ever shared my visions before. What do you think caused it? Perhaps these things have something to do with your destiny, or the fate of someone related to you. I do not have an answer, only advice. Seek out such relics, look for what links them all, and you will know the truth. And we have information on all of the others. Have you decided to join the crusade? I have decided not to, I'm afraid. My path and the path of the crusade lead in the same direction, but alas, they are not as yet one. After the demons were driven away from Kenabres, the path split into the world wound became open, if only temporarily. I'm planning on using this opportunity to visit the elf falls silent. It doesn't matter now. I'd hate to bore you with the details of my venture, which may prove useless even for myself. However, I'll try to return to the Crusaders and aid them in their confrontation with the demons after I'm done. I hope to meet you again in this world rather than the next. Time to go. Time indeed to go now. Resistance +2. You can have a resistance +1. That is Dex +2. Ooh. You can have that. Natural armor +2. I'm not wearing anything with natural armor yet. Agile fist, not yet. Lesser sonic quiver, Lan. You can take that. Is that the buckle? Covenant of the Inheritor. This symbol of Eomade, when placed on the belt, emits a holy aura. All party members in the 30-foot area get a +2 bonus to caster level checks made to overcome spell resistance. Their weapons become good aligned and count if they were made of cold iron. Lan, I'm giving you this one, because you will be at the back with the other casters. Now, cold water's fine. Alright, examine the campsite of the Eagle Watch. Find the location of the troops from Nerosian. Examine the campsite of Kenabres Knights. Talk to the Army Quartermaster. I'm assuming these are scattered around. And there's the first camp. These are the Knights from Kenabres, all that's left of the orders that were billeted in the city. Nerosian recruits. These are fighters that Her Majesty brought from the capital.
No secrets can escape my prying gaze.
Grandma Gretland, the director. A well-dressed old dwarf is lecturing motley crew, shaking her ladle at them belligerently. Noticing you, she flings up her hands. Good afternoon, your commanderness. Do you remember us? We're the crew from the next door theatre. Yes, I do. The one you saved in Kenabres, back when you weren't commanderness yet. As you can see, we've come to the campaign with you. We signed up to clean pots and mend the soldiers' clothes. Keeping up a theatre is expensive, so we all have to take side jobs. But we don't stop what we're doing. We're going to put on a play about your legendary feats. Of course, the crowd scenes are difficult. We can't find the people to play the hordes of demons, and we decided against using a ritual to summon real demons. That's a good decision. Luckily, we have Master Kem. He's invented a way to solve this using sound. Kem, the sound master. We caught a pig and some piglets who ran away from a burned-out village. The glum and husky half-orc mumbles softly. We put the piglets in a box and scare them a little, and the sound they make is just like approaching demon horde. you're warped. But the most important question is, of course, choosing the lead actor who will play the Great Knight Commander. We had a right banny over it, breaking a number of lances as well as a shovel, a rolling pin, and a set of back scratchers. But we just couldn't decide no matter what. Maybe you can help us. We have 2 candidates that are most suited for the role. One will have the honour of conveying your heroism upon the stage, Commander. We've got a half-elf and a cyclops. Don't you have any other actors who even vaguely resemble me? We're a small and poorly funded theatre, and we only have a few actors. But they're all so talented, one of a kind. That's because no one else wants to be like them. I've chosen the ones that are best fit for your role. Trust my vision. I have more than a few successful plays under my belt. Is this sweet half-elf a candidate for my role? Of course, Lily is most impressed with you and wants a the role very, very much. Differences in appearance don't matter. She's a wonderful dancer, which will allow us to introduce elements of ballet into the play. A Cyclops actor. He's completely tame, believe me. Has a few issues with articulation, but what a powerful physique. We'll make him a nice costume, wash him up, brush his hair. Truth be told, in our show, you mainly just make the heroic explanations from the fateful moment, like Onward and We'll Never Give Up, or My Heart Burns with Courage. Lamkin can definitely handle the script. Alright, I've made a decision. You're the director, it's your choice. Wonderful, sorry we took you away from all the important things heroes and commanders do. We're off to rehearsal, First, we'll wash some pots, then we're off to rehearsal. Let's go, you lazy lumps. Don't embarrass old grandma now. God save us from amateur dramatics. August. Alright. Wilsagams. The burly soldier with an impressive beard greets you with a broad smile. Wilsagams, commander at your service. How may I be of help? Show me what you have. Let's bulk sell what we don't need. Breastplate +1, no. We'll keep that for when we get a pet, because I know we're going to get light harness. None of you use a great axe or that. None of you use a dwarven war axe or a falchion. I think I can sell most of this actually. Drop the cookery. I'm not going to be using the potions of vanish. Don't need those, don't need those. What else did I sell? Lesser restoration, we want that. Remove sickness, we'll keep that. Holy water. Get rid of that. All of this lot, if I try to keep it, I'll forget to use. I know this about myself. Deal with that. Now, you Waljiff, let's copy things to your spell book. And then we shall do the same with Ninio. And once that's done, we'll sell the rest. Oh, not Hogus, I'm sorry, Wilsa. Once more, show me what you have. And let's get rid of all of these spells. I would rather have the money. Unless, of course, there are healing spells. Like that. That can be used in certain spells. They are all useful. Good. Don't need the unfinished letter. Don't need the Beth's letter. Don't need the chronicle extract. Biography extract. Prayer scroll. Sermon extract. Don't think I need any of that. Heal. Right. Continue having word with him. Tell me about yourself. The quartermaster looks away sheepishly. There isn't much to tell, really. I was born in Kenabres in a humble family. I got an education, taught myself to read and write. Got drafted into the army. Spent 3 years as a shield bearer in the first line. I left after I did my time and joined the Stonemasons Guild. Then moved on to the shipwrights and rose to a crew chief. Sailed to Iberia twice and returned with goods. Made some money, built a house, but haven't started a family yet. I think I will after we're done with this war. But a few years ago, something started gnawing at me. I got this feeling like I needed to go home, and that there was a storm headed for my native city. And when there's trouble in Mendev, there's only one thing to do. Go to the recruiter and sign up for the army, and so I did. At first they wanted to make me an infantry sergeant, but then they decided I'd be a better fit in the supply department. I can take care of army property, and I'm pretty handy around a warehouse. Not to mention, I know how to manage a band of helpers. So that's how I became quartermaster. Wilson gives you a shy smile and shrugs, as if this was a wholly unremarkable story, typical of any crusader. What are your duties in the camp? A little bit of everything. What's an officer to a soldier? A strict father. So what does this make a quartermaster like myself? Something like their mum, that's what. I make sure the lads have everything they need to defeat the enemy and come back from the battle in one piece. Wilson starts ticking off his fingers. That means food, firewood, medicine, tents, mended clothes, fixed weapons. The horses have got to be fed and watered. The camp's got to be fortified by the evening and broken up by the morning. I make sure that wages are paid on time and the wagon wheels don't squeak. And then there are reports. Gods, until you asked, I never realised how many dudes I actually asked. What do the soldiers think of their new commander? They mostly tell tales about your unusual power, but they don't shy away from talking about you as a person too. Soldiers are always like that. If Eomade herself descended from heaven, you bet they'd jabber about how she grips a sword and how good she looks in her armour. Word is that when you were a little kid, your babysitter was an Ifrit, or maybe a Shaitan, or some other exotic lady from another plane, and that she taught you some tricks no priest or mage can do. Yeah, you have to go. Alright. Moving on. This must be the other one. Yes.
Wherever my legs carry me.
These are the fights of the Eagle Watch. I personally chose every one of them that's standing here, and I'm ready to vouch for them. Alright. With that, it's time to go and see about talking to the Queen. The Queen greets you with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the 5th Crusade. The face of the ruler of Mendev appears calm and thoughtful. She has made her move and now awaits her opponent's reply.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds. I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the World Wound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomade herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation. A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Social Danik.
Could be useful.
One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomade also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom
I've heard of him. Hallblade.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Oh, I'll do that.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
We can do that too.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too.
When we met at the Defender's House, I never imagined you'd make the caliber of the new Crusade.
Some actions may be deemed bold, or even extreme. And beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the Crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
People put their faith in me too fast, I believe. I have some questions about my mission to retake Dresden.
Of course. I shall answer.
How did the demons conquer Dresden?
That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen.
Can't!
and the
It's
power
late.
of
I'm
the
sorry.
Sword of Valor
Did New
protected
Mexico
the city.
time zone switch to GMT?
Alas, where raging hordes
No,
failed,
dear sir.
a single lying
For
tongue
whoever else is
made
watching, let me
success.
advise you that Canzalone is
The
another
demoness
YouTuber.
Minago
And
convinced
well
a
worth a
young
watch.
and ambitious crusader
And no cans,
named Staunton
I'm
Vane
often up late
that the banner
and
remained
early
on the
and any
battlefield.
other time.
He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss.
Staunton Vane, I saw him at the Great Garrison. He defected to the demon's side.
Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions.
I fall prone to late nights and early mornings as well. One of the most peaceful times to get work done or play games. It can be indeed. I realised I advocated for watching Canzalone's channel, but I don't have the chat displayed. So only those on YouTube will see his chat, and I'm dual streaming. But anyone on Twitch who's looking to watch him, he's definitely a variety gamer. Kanzalone, or for British people, Kanzalone. Definitely worth to watch. You punished him with a life of disgrace and humiliation, and that finally broke him. It's sad, but not surprising.
Perhaps Exile would have been a more merciful sentence than decades of service among those who despised him. I was hoping he might atone for his guilt with a heroic act, but he likely decided that atonement was impossible, and he might as well give himself over to evil.
What forces are at my disposal?
Everyone we saw today at the parade.
That's not
First
saying
among
much.
them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness.
There weren't many of
Also
them.
marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Neurosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These
Very well.
forces, as I said, are not enough
Not
for a
nearly
march on
enough.
Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
You said you had no idea I stream on Twitch, cans alone. Until recently, I had not returned to streaming at all. The last time I was consistently streaming was 2019. Life isn't allowing me to be stable with it, but I am trying to do it about once a day if I can. And I dual stream to Twitch and YouTube. Now that breaks affiliate contract with Twitch, so I surrendered the affiliate status. I'm not looking for huge donations or anything like that, so I don't need the affiliate status. It's been decades and no one has managed to retake the city. Why do you think we're different?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Kenabres. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Kenabres. We must attack swiftly, before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
And what about long-term goals? Do you know how to get rid of the world wound forever?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed.
Indeed.
The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz, and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss.
Very well, my queen. I am, of course, a Yorkie of the Shire, kinetic knight in your service, and you have my sword. My sword will serve you faithfully, my queen. As shall I. No more questions.
Wonderful.
No more questions related to that. Did you know about the souls of angels from heaven are confined in the Wardstone?
I had guessed as
Not
much.
anymore, they're not. I freed them.
Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Kenabres, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts. but my faith in Iomade easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess, after all, not to question her works.
Perhaps, perhaps not.
In any case, I am glad you did not allow the demons to commit sacrilege and gain control over the wardstone in Kenabres. We might have lost one of the wardstones, but the chain is still standing.
You should know I received an unusual gift in the cave beneath Kenabres. In a vision I saw the death of an angel called Lariel. Somehow he was able to grant me the ability to reveal the light of heaven.
Lariel? I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the world wound grew, and Dresden fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, we had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel. Even one so righteous and beloved as Lariel. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on their special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young. Like getting a message from the past.
Indeed.
It's sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again?
And what, my queen, are you going to do?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
My queen, I'd ask you to remain with us. The Dresden campaign is the hope of the crusade, and the blessing of Iomade that you may carry, may be decisive in this battle.
I hear a polite attempt to appeal to the conscience of an old sovereign. I don't know if you realize what you're suggesting. If
I'm
our
suggesting you
enemies
stay.
in the depths of the wound were to discover that I was with your army, they would immediately send their most vicious demons to attack. They would stop at nothing to be rid of me, and thereby sow chaos across Mendev. But you are right. I shouldn't be sitting it out in the rear. I am a warrior queen, and a queen of warriors. Yet my fighters have forgotten what I look like. Fine. I shall join the crusade, but on my own terms. First, I shall assemble my entourage and lead the parade out of the camp. I shall catch up with you later, along with a few hand-picked bodyguards. We'll change our armor, and I'll become a knight of a minor order and join the troops incognito.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Until
Sounds
we
sensible.
approach Dresden, no one should know I am among you. But before we storm the city, I shall show myself to the troops and join the battle. Let it be a surprise for the demons. I hope you won't complain of my company on the road, Commander, since you were the one who insisted upon it. Do you have any other questions?
Why would I complain of the company of a fair queen such as yourself? Our task is clear.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable. Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
Oh, don't leave Darren.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
At your
I
service.
spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Yeah. What a wonderful gesture, Your Majesty. I imagine our dear Count would have been inconsolable if you hadn't given him this chance to serve the common cause.
I knew you would approve, Commander.
The Queen bows, bestows a smile on you, then brings a gaze rest on Darren.
I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenabres has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the commander may remove you from your post. But I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation.
Got him backed into a
including
corner.
all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Isn't that nice of them, Darren?
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
Good.
Then let's get going. May Iyomade help us.
Anivia. Anivia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you, so tell me straight. How'd that brawl at the Great Garrison end? I heard rumours, of course. That's kind of my job, you know, to listen. You've no idea what cobblers the Crusaders say about you. Some say that Diarmady came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist lab. And I'm the one spreading rumours about your powers. I wish. But, you know, you really have changed since the Great Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda... more charismatic? More dangerous. Fair. I have a good instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander, and by dead, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies and not to us. Or to yourself. I have to go. Alright. Heading out. And we have others to speak to here. Leotta, Hawkblade. Commander! A tall man with piercing yellow eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title, and thank you for your time in advance. I am Leotta Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iomedae, and bringer of light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter, involving one of the companions, young Count Darren Arenday. What brings you here? I ask you to assist the Church of Iomedae in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I am calling on you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in thoughts for a moment. I suppose you have already heard about Count Arenday's story. I refer to the tragedy at Heaven's Edge seat. You're going to investigate this whole case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared account of exactly what happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev. Mendev before the World Wound, and yet on that day it turned into a labyrinthine house of horrors. Like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression, I wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Kenabres for help? Even though the agony spanned many hours. We found the demons dead, with their heads cut off. And when we got into the estate, how were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the estate, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the Holy Warrior's defences, why has this never repeated since the tragedy at Heaven's Edge? You are the only person who can help me here, Commander, because the only living witness of those events is currently serving in your army. Your army's route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all of these years. And only the Count has the power to break that seal. He's unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case he won't like me sniffing around his family seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, you'll be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you as one of your attendants. There are hundreds of ways, 1,000 paths, and myriad loopholes in human lives that the force of evil can use to their advantage. I am not sure which of these led to the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid. The kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that's why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. You've already been to the estate several times. What do you expect to find now? I was young and inexperienced inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. Leota makes a vague gesture, pointing at his scars. Always been interested in Pathfinder as a game to play on my off time. Both Pathfinders I find entertaining, to be honest, Cancelone. I've not completed either yet. I'm working on completions. When I say completions, getting to the end of it for both of them at the moment. Almost all of them require me to be physically present in a place where the event in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you just search the estate yourself without involving me? The estate is abandoned and sealed with powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arenday is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house even if I found a way to bypass the spells. This is a serious matter, Leota frowns. A matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomedae, and my own organisation in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade, and are still dealing with these consequences. Your presence will give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring an independent third-party investigator to the case. Someone independent but well-respected, and you fit this perfectly. Did you question Darren himself? I did. But the Count insisted he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demons at the very beginning when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and mock their victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Countess Selena. That was all he would tell me. Leota pauses. We had found the young Count asleep, like a log, on the floor in one of the rear chambers, having drunk about half the family's wine cellar all by himself. Yeah, I can see... There is no reason to disbelieve him on that matter. I can see why he'd be getting drunk after being attacked by demons. So you suspect Darren is hiding something, and that he is to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions that it doesn't affect the investigation. There is a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arenday wasn't suffering from demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Prelate Holron himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry with him. Fine, I will help you. What do you need me to do? Leota bows his head to you with exceptional reverence. Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak with Count and tell him that you wish to see Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when it's time to travel to the estate. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You will have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll remain here for a while. Are you one of Prelate Holron's followers? Leota's face freezes for a moment. Yes, of course. What is your opinion on these atrocities? Leota is silent for a while. Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Holron's side to learn how to keep him from going over with the line. The prelate is an extraordinary man, but he has fallen prey to his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility, which has gradually eroded his razor-sharp mind. He has witnessed so many hideous darknesses that he now sees it in every shadow. Yet his strength was, and still is, a shield for all the people of Mendev. That is my opinion. His comrades and advisors are necessary to prevent him from making unforgivable mistakes. Where were you during the attack on Kenabres? I was on the hunt, a very successful one, but as often happens in life, minor success was a mere harbinger of a larger failure. If I hadn't been so far away from Kenabres on the day of the attack, I might have been able to help my comrades and prevent a number of deaths. I need to check something for a moment. Give me. Thank you for your answer. I'm not interested in learning more about you right now, to be honest.
Forwards! No, backwards.
Oziel, you're one of our new
Hello again.
journeymen.
I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
That's no problem. A young cleric stands before an easel, his brush hovering over the canvas, without touching it. Instead of painting, the young man absent-mindedly gazes at the sky of Kenabres, which is streaked with towering plumes of black smoke. Finally, he notices you and smiles, shaking off his stupor.
It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
Sorry, Canzalone, I missed your question before. I thought it was the first statement you'd made there. If starting Pathfinder, should you play in order, or can you start any of them? Kingmaker came before Wrath of the Righteous, as you may know. In a sense, it is a predecessor to it. But the stories themselves, as far as I'm aware, are completely and utterly unrelated. There is a character in here, Janna Aldori, who is seemingly, from what I've seen, in a previous playthrough where I've never completed it, as I said, a less competent niece, granddaughter, whatever, niece I think, of the woman, the sword lord who hires you initially in Kingmaker. But that's the only actual link I've seen per se. Now, there may be other things I haven't seen, but so far as I can see, you can play them in whatever order you want. As to Jamandi Aldori stroke Janet Aldori, they're background characters anyway. The light above the city, okay. Who are you and how could you possibly any use of my army?
My name is Sozio Vanek. I am a cleric of Shaylin, the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy. I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander.
Well, I'm glad you don't.
It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
One other reason that I might say play Kingmaker first, understandably, given that it was released before Wrath of the Righteous, I would say that although it is a phenomenal game, it is a lesser game. As one example, there are many more classes and a few more races to choose from when creating your character in Wrath of the Righteous than there are in Kingmaker. So if you play Wrath of the Righteous first, and then go play Kingmaker, you're likely to start out going, where is this class? Why can't I create a witch? Why can't I create this? Why can't I create that? Why can't I be a kitsune? Etc. Is it, when you say a leg up, do you mean a better game? I would say it's a superior game, but I would say they're both good. I think they learned from things they didn't do as well in Kingmaker. Both games, like all games, have one or two flaws with them, as you would expect. But this, I would say, is a superior game in some ways. That doesn't make Kingmaker a good game, you're comparing good to better. What's your painting? The cleric's eyes linger mournfully on the canvas. The unfinished painting depicts a temple crowned with a rainbow-tailed bird, a symbol of Shellin. 5 people dressed in robes stand before the temple, men and women, young and old. They all gaze back at you with radiant happiness and joy in their serene eyes.
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help and then... they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead, I met Queen Galfrey on my way to Nerosian, and hurriedly returned to Kenabres, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple.
Oh, I should also say that from what I've heard, and I do not know this for myself because I've not completed either game, there is a longer playtime for Wrath of the Righteous than for Kingmaker. I've heard an estimate of about 60 to 70 hours for Kingmaker and about 100 to 130 for the Wrath of the Righteous.
I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
This is why you have to treasure every moment you spend with the loved one, the ones you love. Today you're together, but who knows what tomorrow may bring.
Right. I took their company for granted and never even imagined that they might just disappear in the blink of an eye. So many words left unspoken. Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
Forgive me taking a little time aside there. My wife, my dear lady wife, was messaging me, and of course a knight must respond to his fair maid. Stands alone, I see now. Kingmaker would probably be the best to start with then in that regard. I would want to play to understand the mechanics. Then after get that additional enhancement. Exactly. You can also find mods if you want to enhance Kingmaker as well. What made an artist enlist in the army?
Perhaps I am a true artist, or simply an amateur who defaces canvases in my spare time. My goddess is a patron of art, so painting is part of my prayer, and I put all my heart into my pieces. But I am a cleric above all else, so I must also tend to others.
All right.
I went to war because here's where I'm most needed. Sure, I could be painting idyllic landscapes and offering empty prayers to my goddess, but that won't stop people from dying. My goddess has no tolerance for false piety.
You want to discuss something with me, right?
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Kenabres behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort. I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
Well, it was nice meeting you. Now I have to go.
You must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
Yes, indeed. Right. Next, we must find young Darren. Just down here. There you are. I'd love to visit Heaven's Edge and see the R&D estate someday. Oh, I was just about to mention it myself. I've been thinking, now that I'm in the middle of this whole crusade nonsense, I simply must devise new ways to have fun. With all the recent commotion, my birthday completely slipped my mind. What if we were to celebrate it at Heaven's Edge? It's not that far from here. and you'll get to enjoy a banquet in a bona fide haunted house. Darren seems to have trouble getting the words out, which clearly indicates how rarely he is to ask for anything. Since you're my superior, and I'm your advisor, I am obliged to ask your permission to leave for festivities, and I want to invite you too. I'm sure the commander can free up the afternoon while the soldiers are on leave. Alright, deal. Perfect, you'll have a ball, I'll make sure of it. Something strange flicks in Darren's smile. So how do you like your new role, advisor? Darren whimpers. You also enjoy poking me with that stick, don't you? Imagine it. Me, a crusader. If my dearest cousin hoped to teach me a lesson, she managed it perfectly. An assignment I couldn't avoid without losing faith. This idiotic journey leading straight into the demon's maws. I could have been on a pleasure boat right now, with a lovely songstress in Pitex on my arm, and a bottle of the finest Keonan wine to keep us company. Did you also receive a fraction of that unusual power? Looks like it. I genuinely hoped that getting away from you would be the end of it. If your gift truly did come from my Armady, then giving me a smidgen of that power was a very subtle joke on her part. I had no idea that our divine lightbringer of Mendev even had a sense of humour. Don't get me started on the many acts of sacrilege against her. That obscene engraving, the truth about the test of the Starstone, is the tamest one by far. No, I should go. Goodbye. Right, the only other person I wish to speak to immediately is Irabeth. Because we found her scabbard, and I'd like to tell her about that. Commander, allow me to say something. Irabeth looks even more serious than usual. Before you, this wasn't a war. It was agony, drawn out over decades. No one believed in victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, some it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing, but somehow got through on stubbornness and the vague hope that if nobody found Anivia's body, he might by some miracle have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me when I'd nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive again. Then you went on a suicide mission to the Great Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned a defeat into a victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you make everything seem so effortless. You do everything just like that, she says with a snap of her fingers. The Queen believes in your powers too, but for me they're just more proof of what I felt that day when I saw Anivia alive, standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to this terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us the victory we so desperately need. With you, I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. I found a scabbard with your family name on it in the Great Garrison. Irabeth looks down. This scabbard held a solemn hour, my family sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it. When I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was not stolen. I parted with my heirloom willingly to help someone dear to me. Anivia needed expensive healing, and having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. I hoped to redeem the solemn hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from the pawn shop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I'll have to part with my father's sword forever. You had the Order's coffers at your disposal. How can you even suggest that? Irabeth lovingly touches the name imprinted on the silver on the scabbard's leather. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn them a title or a coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it is worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see the solemn hour again, but at least I have its scabbard back. Thank you. We need reinforcements. Can you get us more soldiers? Irabeth frowns. When we began the march to Dresden, we chose speed over numbers. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, they simply won't arrive in time. We could pay majors to deliver the troops to the camp, except I doubt that our army coffers could afford it. If you could spare 7,500 gold coins, I will see to our reinforcements. And there you go. Consider it done. So it turns out that the Queen has her head of counterintelligence watching me. I wonder why. You think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she wouldn't have put you in charge of the army. My main task is to be your advisor until you've gained enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Eva and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your inner circle, but you're not under suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. It's hard to believe your origin is so humble. You deserve a noble title more than many who inherit them. Kenabres' cheeks blush a little. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor to hear that, especially from you. Every noble family begins somewhere. You must have heard the recent story from the Stolen Lands in the River Kingdom. That, by the way, if you're still here, Canzalone, is the story of Kingmaker. Just imagine coming from nowhere and making it all the way to the royal crown in just a few years. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I managed to distinguish myself somehow. But then I'd push away such unworthy, selfish thoughts, of course. We don't fight for rewards. The fate of the world is at stake. And yet, Kenabres' blush deepens and she falls silent. I have to go. Right, with that, my friends, I'm going to draw a conclusion to today's journey. I will be returning within a few moments, most likely. Or at least another one of the Lives of Yorkie will, with a different game. For now, you've been a fine company. I have been Sir Yorkie of the Shire, and this has been Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Very well.